Hey guys, let's just go over this sheet real quick just to clear some things up. I sent this in the form of a PDF file. So when we're looking at your keys, as the sheet explains, your major scale you'll arrive at every chord in that key by looking at the major scale and looking at the individual notes. So as it lays out on this page, this example's in the key of C, and the first degree of the scale is C, of course, producing a C chord, and the second degree of the scale is a D note, producing a D minor chord. E produces E minor, F produces F major, G produces our G chord, A produces our A minor, which is our relative minor. We'll talk about that later. The 7 chord's always diminished, not a chord you're going to use a whole lot, and then of course back to C. It talks about down here the formula for the 1, 4, 5 chords and 2, 3, and 6 and 7. That's regardless of what key you're in. The 1, 4, 5 chords will always be major. The 2, 3, 6 chords will always be minor, and the 7th chord will always be diminished. The other thing that you can get out of this is you can figure out what notes are in each chord, which is kind of cool. So in other words, if you're saying, okay, I'm playing a C chord, what's in a C chord? Well, the root is C. Skip the note to the 3rd, which is E. Skip the note to the 5th, which is G. So in a C chord, the notes are C, E, and G. Now you can follow this with the rest of the scale. If you want to figure out, well, what's in a D minor chord? Well, D, F, and A. The D is the root, the F is the flatted 3rd, and the A is the 5th. So D, F, and A. In a major chord, this would be sharped. That's why D major doesn't belong to the key of C, because in the key of C there are no sharps or flats. So if you play a D chord on your, grab your guitar and play a D major chord, you'll see that you're playing an F sharp on the 1st string. The note is the 2nd fret on the 1st string. In a D minor chord, of course, all minor chords were flatting the 3rd. So D, F, and A makes up a D minor chord. The E minor chord is E, G, and B. So we're skipping every other note of the scale in order to arrive at what the chord tones are. You want to know what's in a G chord? G, skip A to B, skip over C to, we're back here to D. So in a G chord, you have a G, a B is the 3rd, and a D. When you're saying, well, hang on, you're saying B is the 7th. No, we're talking about two different things here. These are the degrees of the scale, okay? What we're talking about now is the actual chord tones. So in a G chord, we're calling this the root because it's a G chord, so obviously 1 or the root is G. So the 2nd of that chord would be A. The 3rd of that chord would be B. So this essentially is 1, 3, meaning chord tones, but 5, 7 based on degrees of the scale. So remember, we're talking about two different things here. If we're talking about scale, we're talking about scale degrees here. And that's your do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Now when we start talking about individual, when we talk about chords, now we're talking about degrees of the chord. So D minor, well, 1 is no longer C because we're talking about D minor. So 1, or the root of D, is now, a D minor chord is now D. So we'd skip from D to F for the flatted 3rd, and to A. So the notes in a D minor chord are D, F, and A. What else? Okay, so this is indicating the function of the chord. So in other words, a C chord is the what? It's the 1 chord. An A minor chord is the 6 chord. So if it's the 6th chord, we learned down here that 2, 3, and 6 are always minor. What's D minor? D minor is the 2 chord. Again, talking about degrees of the diatonic scale. So that being said, let's go over here to keys and transposing. So you'll find that this is pretty simple using what we just learned. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to hit this guy here. We'll make it blue. So as I look at my key of C, I'm going to use Roman numerals because that's how you do harmonic analysis, meaning analyzing how the chords function in that key. So the C chord is the 1 chord. 2, 3, 4. The F chord is the 4 chord. The G chord is the 5 chord. We'll make them blue for major. And then we're going to go back up here. We'll switch the color to something darker. Let's just make it easy and we'll go black. Okay, the D minor is the 2 chord. The 3 chord is E minor. Your 6 chord is A minor. And then we get to the diminished chord, which again is not a chord you're going to use a whole lot. We'll just put a 7 there. Okay. So now let's look down here. That being said, let's say I'm playing in the key of C and my chord progression is C, D minor, F, I'm just making something up here, A minor, and G. And then we go back to C. So we wrote this song, and here's our chord progression. We're in the key of C. Just circle that there. Okay, so we're in the key of C, and so what we do Roman numeral-wise is we identify this chord progression as a 1, 2, 4, 6, 5 progression. Why is that important? Well, I'm going to tell you in a second. 1, so our progression here is a 1, 2, 4, 6, 5. So what I'm using, well, the reason why I'm using Roman numerals and the reason why they use Roman numerals with this is because if you have too many numbers, things get confusing. So Roman numerals are generally used for harmonic analysis. So what I'm getting at here is in the key of C, we wrote this song, or you're at an open mic night and some guy says, hey, here's the chords. So, Roxy, I'm talking, stop it. All right, so C, D minor, F, A minor, G, and back to C. So you're thinking in your head, well, it's a 1, 2, 4, 6, 5 progression based on the key of C up here. As you can see, C is 1, 2, 4, and so on and so forth. Okay, here's the cool thing though. So now that you know it's a 1, 2, 4, 6, 5 progression based on the diatonic scale degrees and how the chords are laid out in that key, if someone says to you now, hey, I can't sing it in C, let's do it in F. Well, then for you, that's no big deal because you understand the harmonic analysis. So you can instantly transpose this progression from the key of C into the key of F. How? Well, F is the 1 chord. G minor is the 2 chord. B flat is the 4 chord, like so. Then we had down here, we had a minor, but it's no longer going to be A minor because we're in the key of F. So the 6th chord in the key of F is D minor. So we have 1, C is no longer C, it's F. 2 is no longer D minor, it is G minor. F is the 4 chord, but we're no longer using F, we're using B flat because we've transposed into the key of F. And A minor, we're no longer using. We're using the 6 chord in the key of F now, D minor. And last but not least, the 5 chord in the key of C is G, but we're not using G, we're in the key of F now. So our new 5 chord is C, and then of course back to the 1 chord, which is F. So your progression now becomes F major, G minor, B flat major, D minor, C major, and back to F. So you can transpose the key of G on your own using what we just talked about. The supplemental sheet that you'll need for this video is this sheet, the transposing keys and transposing, and you'll also need your music theory and diatonic keys sheet. Request that at your lesson or the website www.theguitar-shop.com or text friendly 717-468-0795.